So the MAGA divide over Donald Trump refusing to release more documents on Epstein is getting worse and worse by the day. It's a story that's just simply not going to fade away for Donald Trump, and that is disastrous for him and his administration. So the MAGA influencers and the MAGA commentators are now trying to run cover for Donald Trump, defend him, take the heat off of him, and blame someone else or something else. And it's taking place right now as I'm filming this. Charlie Kirk, Megyn Kelly, and other MAGA influencers are at Turning Point USA right now in Florida. It's a gathering of some of the worst people in the country, all these conservative MAGA influencers you see on social media all the time. And it seems like Kirk and Kelly have been given their marching orders, and they're now running with a new excuse to defend Donald Trump. So I want to play you some of these clips and just show you how absurd their explanations are. But before I do that, make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about what we're about to watch. But let's just start here. I think this gives you a really good idea as to why MAGA is doing this and why they're so rapidly moving forward with these new excuses for Donald Trump. So just take a look at what Laura Ingram, Fox News host, had to say during her speech.
How many of you are satisfied? You can clap. Satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation? Clap. Okay, I told you to clap. You guys aren't listening. I'm not going to grade you on a curve. So I was going to get to that. How many of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation?
This clip right here tells you everything you need to know about why these MAGA influencers are now doing everything they can and spending like 24 hours a day defending Donald Trump, trying to take him out of the equation, trying to argue that it's not the president of the United States who should be at fault for not releasing documents, even though he controls the government. Apparently, it's not his fault. And that brings us to clips like this, where Megyn Kelly is doing actively trying to blame Pam Bondi. They're trying to move the blame away from Donald Trump and put it on Pam Bondi and say that it's her fault that the documents aren't being released. Like, just take a look at this absurd explanation from Megyn Kelly.
No, we all have busy lives, and President Trump has a busy life, and I don't think he realizes how much she's humiliated the administration. This is a self-inflicted wound. She caused it. Again, I have nothing against Pam Bondi, but if you want to look for the villain in this story, we have found her. I mean, she is the person who's she's either lying now or she was lying then. There's no two ways about it. And if you...
What about Donald Trump? What about Donald Trump lying? They are trying to gaslight the American people into believing that actually Trump is out of the equation. He didn't do anything wrong. What about Donald Trump lying? He was coming into office saying, I'm going to release all the documents no matter what it says. Then 6 months into his term, he says, yeah, I'm actually not feeling that anymore. They will never, these MAGA influencers, I think they're different than your average American voter. These MAGA influencers will never blame Donald Trump. I mean, listen to her explanations. She's trying to say, Donald Trump's a busy guy. He's president. We found the villain in the story. It's not the guy who could actually release these documents and authorize the release of the documents. It's somebody that's even lower than him in the federal government. It's absurd. And it's like an insult to the intelligence of the American people for them to make this argument, because they're not even considering that it could be, the guy that was hanging out with Epstein for 15 years who might be blocking the release of these documents, the guy who was seen in Epstein's flight logs 7 different times on his phone logs, visited his properties, Epstein visited his. They were best friends. They were both on record complimenting each other. They don't even consider that it could be the guy who said this about Epstein. I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. A pretty disgusting quote in hindsight, don't you think? They're not even considering that it could be that guy. They will run cover for Donald Trump no matter what. And this is such an important thing for, I think, all of us to be tuned into, because we have to be aware that this is the excuse that MAGA is running with. They're trying to defend Donald Trump, take him out of the equation, insert Pam Bondi, make her the villain, and make Donald Trump the good guy somehow. It's not going to work, but now we know what they're running with. Now we know what their excuse is. And they even continued. Both Charlie Kirk and Megyn Kelly started to attack Pam Bondi. They were talking about that whole influencer event where Pam Bondi, Donald Trump, and the whole 9 yards brought all these MAGA influencers to the White House, gave them these Epstein binders, and they're insulting Pam Bondi for that event. Just take a look at what they said in this clip.
I know. I was talking about someone tomorrow, so that might be speaking at this.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Okay.
but Megyn, you make a very astute point, and let me add to it, which is that she also brought in some of our best influencers, people that I care about deeply. Jack Posobiec, who's incredible. Libs of TikTok, Chaya. DC Drano.
Some of the worst
and
people.
She gave them these binders, and she humiliated them.
Yeah.
And you guys know what I'm talking about? Where she like did this stuff with the binders?
This?
And
Yes.
you guys were upset, but you shouldn't be upset, the influencers. They were handed these binders like there was something incredible in them.
It is what you would do to an enemy. It would have been a brilliant operation had she loathed them and been looking to undermine them. The trick would have been perfect had this been Joe Biden's White House doing this to some of President Trump's most loyal supporters and media advocates. What happened was they invited all of them there to say hi to the vice president, to say hi to the president. Sure, they all went, of course. Who wouldn't go to the White House to say hello to Trump? They didn't expect anything on Epstein. So they went, they said hello, and before they knew it, they were pulled into a room with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, and she had made the binders. She bragged about making the cover sheet that read Epstein Files, Phase 1, and she handed them out. And what Liz Wheeler, who was there, told me was that she told them, there's not that much in here, but like another trove is coming. I'm going to get it from the FBI, but like, here's Phase 1. Flash forward 14 hours earlier to when she was on with Jesse Waters on Fox News saying, oh, you're going to see some Epstein documents tomorrow. She knew they were bullshit. She knew that there was nothing in there. She told the influencers when she gave it to them, there's really nothing in here. I'm going to try to get you more. And in the meantime, then they funneled them out the back of the White House where all the press corps was. And the influencers are standing there with these binders. They didn't even know they were there for Epstein, and they looked foolish through no fault of their own.
Well, maybe they look foolish because they believe Donald Trump. Maybe that's a revolutionary thought. Maybe they look foolish because they fell for it. They thought that Donald Trump was actually going to be transparent. And what's so funny about what Megyn Kelly is omitting from this story is that Donald Trump was in the room. When Pam Bondi gave all the influencers the binders, Trump was there watching her do it. He authorized it. They are doing everything they can to make the MAGA base get back on the side of Donald Trump, making him basically invisible in all of this. Even though, again, he is the president of the United States, he can authorize the release of these documents tomorrow if he wanted to. He can do that, easy peasy. Nobody else can tell him not to. He's the president. Pam Bondi can't say no. Kash Patel can't say no. If he wants to, he's the president. They're trying to insult the American people by thinking that people don't know that, by thinking that people don't understand this situation. And they're trying to insult the American people by saying that like things like this photo right here and the many other photos of Trump with Epstein doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump perhaps not wanting these documents to come out. Man, it's so funny to watch the lies, the excuses, the justifications that these MAGA influencers are running with. And you can see I'm kind of heated right now because it's straight up falsehoods. It's misinformation that they're so, quick to spread. So I had to talk about this with you. I had to bring your attention to what their new excuse is because we got to be on watch and we got to be ready to push back. That's what I'm doing here. And I know you're doing it at home. Anyway, I will leave the video here. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.